Hello, everyone, and welcome to Season 1, Episode 4 of, what is this called again?
I don't know.
It's called Movies with Drew. Yes, she does know. Don't lie. So today I have a very special guest with me. This is my wife, Lela. Lela, say hello to my mom.
Hello. Hey, Ellen.
Lela did not want to do this, but since only my mom watches it, she finally agreed to and said it will be fine. So we watched a very special movie. The movie is called Virgin Suicides. The Virgin Suicides. I can't decide if we should look at each other or the screen.
You.
Okay. Lela said she picked this because when she thought about movies with Drew, pretty much all she could think about was virgins. So
I never said that.
But you thought it. It's
No.
okay. It's all right. So during the podcast, Lela, I have some notes over here, but you have to pretend like you don't see them.
Okay.
Because they're supposed to be surprises. But I have them over here in case I forget whose people's names are.
Okay.
All right. So The Virgin Suicides is a 1999 film. However, the book was written in
1993, I believe. The author's name is Jeffrey Eugenides.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, I may be incorrect, but I think it was his first book. And that was my senior year of high school. And it was all
Nice. When we watched the movie, one thing I was surprised about was that it was written by a man.
Yes.
Because it seems very female-centric.
It is, but it's told from the viewpoint of the boys. You never know what's going on with the girls. So you don't know what's in their heads other than when they're reading Cecilia's diary.
That's true. And also, I don't know any of the names of the characters, so you're going to have to keep me going on that one.
Okay.
So it's directed by Sofia Coppola,
Mm-hmm.
who is would you say she is your second favorite Coppola?
With Nicolas Cage being my first, yes.
Are there any Coppolas that you like that you do not like besides Francis Ford?
I don't dislike Francis Ford.
I don't think that you like him. You've never seen The Godfather.
I just don't like the movies.
Did you know that he's who Han Solo was based on?
Okay.
That's what the IMDb page said when I googled who is Francis Ford Coppola.
Okay.
I was saying it might make you like him a little bit more.
No.
We also have Jason Schwartzman. He's a Coppola.
Okay.
We got, of course, Nick Cage, Sofia Coppola, Talia Shire.
Mm-hmm.
So they're all pretty good. You could say they're a family of filmmakers. She's from that Rocky movie.
Okay.
And I think she was in Godfather as well. Yeah, she was in Godfather. Was she in anything else?
What does this have to do with the Virgin Suicides?
Okay. Back to Virgin Suicides. The cast consists of James Woods.
Yes.
Can we say fuck James Woods because he's awful? In a personal life, not as an actor.
Oh, okay. Yes.
Okay. We got Kathleen Turner.
Mm-hmm.
I have an anecdotal story about Kathleen Turner, which I've probably told you before, but for our audience, aka my mom, pretend like you've never heard it.
Okay.
So when I went to school for theater, that's right, I went to school for theater, humble brag. One of my theater teachers did a movie with Kathleen Turner called V.I. Warshawski.
Mm-hmm.
Have you ever seen it? And she explained that experience as the worst experience she has ever had in her life. She said Kathleen Turner would not come out of her dressing room, and when she did, she was completely drunk. And when she did, and she was completely drunk, she fell down on her face and broke her nose, and they had to stop filming. And that's why she was my theater teacher and not an actress out there, because she was like, forget all this.
Kathleen Turner just ruined it all for her.
Yes, exactly.
Have you seen V.I. Warshawski?
I have, but only because my theater instructor was in it, and I cannot say I was a fan.
There might have been a reason why she was drunk the whole time.
It was pretty awful.
It was bad.
What? I don't even understand what it was about. She was
It doesn't matter.
Okay. So we're talking about the Virgin Suicides today. We also have Kirsten Dunst.
Mm-hmm.
She was very good.
Yes.
I liked her. She was very young. She looked like a baby. I guess because she practically was a baby.
She was supposed to be, 14 in the movie?
That's awful. That's James's age.
Yeah.
That's very scary. Giovanni Ribisi
Yes.
was the narrator,
Yes.
which I did not realize, but that's pretty cool.
Yes.
Oh, one other, I'm not even looking at my notes right now, so
Very nice.
very impressive. One other famous Coppola is Spike Jonze.
Nobody's going to understand that joke.
That's an inside joke because when we were playing a trivia game last weekend, Spike Jones was an answer, and James read it as Spike Jonze, and we had a very big laugh. It was very funny. I forget what I was talking about.
Giovanni Ribisi.
Yes, Giovanni Ribisi. He was, I feel like I'd like to go back and rewatch it now that I know he was the narrator.
Could you not tell from his voice?
No, I thought the narrator was the guy that from Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the remake.
Yeah.
I thought he was just telling it over again, but
no.
Was it his character that was supposed to be the narrator?
The narrator is never really disclosed as who it is. In the book, is kind of told from all of the boys,
Okay.
all of the different boys. It doesn't come out and say, my name is this.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it could have just been any one of them.
All right. That's fine then. I sort of like that. That's another interesting aspect. We also have Josh Hartnett.
Mm-hmm.
He was like incredibly cool.
Yes.
I would feel like he is not the level of cool that anyone in high school I knew had.
You didn't have one of those guys? Oh, we had one of those guys.
I mean, he was so cool. He was like the coolest person I've ever seen.
We definitely had that cool guy, and who got around pretty much the same as he did.
Well, that's disgusting.
Yeah.
Did he land in, I guess he wasn't in jail. I guess that was just like
it was rehab, yeah.
Rehab, okay. Would you say that your high school friend was as cool as Josh Hartnett or cooler than Josh Hartnett?
Equally cool.
That's a pretty high bar.
He did turn out to be very gay, though, in the end.
All right. Well, we're on the Movies with Drew podcast. We are all about that.
No, it's fine. It's just nobody would have guessed that at all.
Do you think it was an overcompensation thing, or do you think he just
maybe at that time, because that was, let's see, he was he was a senior in '92, so maybe at that time it was definitely just trying to hide things, but or maybe he was just trying to decide. I don't know. Had to go through all of the women before he could figure it out.
That was my problem as well.
But he was just as beautiful as Josh Hartnett and just as cool. Had the car, had the parents who just didn't care what he did, had the drugs.
Mm-hmm.
Did not have the hair.
How do high school people get cars that are cool like that?
Rich parents.
So James is gonna have like the best car.
We're the best car.
It's gonna. What was the car in this one? I don't even know what it was, but it was cool looking.
Yeah.
All right. Now, one other thing.
Yes.
Before we watched this film, I'd never seen a preview or anything for it. So, just based off of the title alone, do you know what I thought it was about?
I have no clue.
So I had assumed it was a like police procedural where there was a serial killer that was killing virgins and making it look like suicides.
Then this movie came as a shock then. Yes?
It was a very big shock. So I'm like, okay, it's in the past. Got it. There's going to be...
Wait, the past?
Yeah, it's like in the...
70s.
Yeah, 70s. So I was like, okay, it's an old police drama where there's going to be a serial killer of virgins, which I understand that a serial...
But it's called suicides.
Well, because he makes them look like suicides. That's the thing, is like, the town is going to be like, all these virgins are killing themselves.
You knew it was one of my favorite movies, though, right?
Yes. Oh, wait, I'm not recording. I'm just kidding. That was a joke.
Knowing that, you still had that opinion that that's what it was going to be.
Well, I thought it was going to be like a moody
moody
police drama.
So you didn't know the cast, or you didn't know, who did you think was the actor?
Could have been James Woods for all I know. I knew nothing about the cast.
Okay.
It could have been...
So you knew nothing other than just you saw the poster?
Yes. And I always get the poster confused with the Girl Interrupted poster. Yeah.
How did you decide to watch it then?
You picked it.
You had already downloaded it, though.
Ooh.
To watch.
That's exactly right.
Yes.
I will tell you how I picked it. Is I was looking at a Letterboxd D list, or Letterboxd as some call it, and there was a list of movies that were labeled as like not A24, but
Mhm.
similar to A24.
Okay.
And that
Yes.
was one that
This is pre
I have not
A24.
seen.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. All
Yes.
right.
So
Okay.
it fit pretty well. I still thought it was a police drama, though.
Okay.
So I was very surprised that it was not a police drama at all. Hold on. Don't look at my notes while I pull them up because there are a couple other things. Sex on the roof.
Yes.
I feel like that's not something. Oh, don't look at my notes. Hold on.
I'm
I've
looking
got
at your
to
notes.
change the page again. That felt a little weird. Like, I feel
Yes.
like if we would have seen one of our neighbors having sex on the roof with like random
Yes.
strangers,
Yes.
like maybe the police would be called.
Yes.
It was very weird.
It was very weird. It was very shocking when I read it in the book.
Hmm.
More so trying to figure out how it happened. In the book, the book explains that at that point, her parents are using a lot of sleeping pills to stay asleep at night because they're dealing with Cecilia's death and everything.
Okay.
And so in the book, she brings them in through the house and then takes them up on the roof.
Okay.
Kind of implies that she wants God to see.
Ooh, that
But
makes it darker.
it's really dark.
I did wonder how they got up on the roof. Like, are
Yes,
the
I
guys
know.
climbing up a trellis or something?
No, they're coming in and crawling through the window out of Cecilia's bedroom.
That's very
I
weird.
haven't read it.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So the big thing I wanted to ask you about is, were those girls being abused? Like, do you think they were being abused and that's why they killed themselves?
No,
Why
unless
do
you think that the extreme rules that the parents had were a form of abuse.
Okay.
Did you catch the parallel with the trees?
No, I have no idea what that is.
Okay, so did you notice there was a big part of the movie and the book where the trees in the neighborhood are being treated for Dutch elm disease?
Yep.
And at first, the trees they're flagged. They're just being watched. We're going to watch and see if anything happens with these. And then when things start to happen, they start cutting the branches down.
Mm-hmm.
And they try to use different kinds of poison, different things like that to cure the trees.
Mm-hmm.
And then eventually they just say, okay, well, we can't fix this, so we're just going to get rid of them completely. So there is some sort of parallel. I haven't quite figured it out with the girls and the trees. With the mom has them. She wants to protect them, so she keeps them under a watch.
Okay.
And then she allows a little bit of leniency, just the ribbons tied around the trees to keep a watch on them. And Cecilia tries to first attempts to kill herself. And then they try to fix that by listening to the experts who said, let the boys come in, let the girls go out and do this and that. And then basically just all hell breaks loose. Mm-hmm. So there is some sort of, probably better put, parallel between the way the trees are treated and what happens to all the girls, but I'm not exactly sure the correct words. But it's a big thing there.
That's interesting.
No,
I have no idea about any of that.
I don't think there was any kind of physical abuse. Emotional abuse, absolutely. With the parents just saying, you have to do what we say. Don't talk to people. Don't look at people. You can't do this. You can't do that. You can't leave your room. You can't leave the house now. The mother just basically went overboard. I think the dad just went along with it. It was all the mother.
Interesting. I was thinking the opposite. I thought maybe it was, we're seeing it from some weird perspective where we're not seeing the father's abuse, but it's actually there. Like,
no.
Okay.
No, the dad was just there.
Not saying that we like James Woods because he's awful.
He's awful.
But he was a good actor in this.
To play the dopey dad who just basically, his wife bullied him into doing what she wanted to do.
Okay.
And her ideas all came from a church. It's never stated which church. Mother made fun of Cecilia for believing in the Catholic, she had the Virgin Mary cards.
I don't remember that part.
Cecilia was pretending or trying out being Catholic when she decided to kill herself.
Ooh, that's rough.
And the mom was not about that. So I have to assume it's some sort of very strict, very crazy church.
That was it was a brutal suicide scene.
Yes. Both of them were, when you think about it, because she was only 12 and when she slit her wrist, and then when she threw herself out the window too.
Yeah, that's a rough way to go.
Yes.
That is,
And she was aiming for that.
God. So for those of you that haven't seen Virgin Suicides, 20-year spoiler, one of the suicides happens by a girl jumping out a window and then landing on like a, what do you call those fences?
It's a wrought iron fence with very sharp spikes at the top.
Yeah, yeah, it's
And
nasty.
she lands on one of the spikes
Ugh.
and is immediately dead.
Well, that's a plus at least. If I were to jump on a fence, I would hope that I would die very fast instead of...
It is very graphic in the book because they have to pull her off of it. Yeah.
Even the scene where they're pulling up the fence later on, even that was pretty rough.
Yeah.
Like, it was very scary. So my other inappropriate question is, how stinky do you think that house was at the very end?
Incredibly stinky.
Like, I feel like if you're walking into a house with 6 dead bodies.
It was stinky before that. Remember that they had been, all of them, when the dad quit his job, they had all been sequestered, quarantined in their home.
Oh, this is very topical. This is why we picked this film.
Well, they chose to be. The mom chose it.
Okay.
She locked down and said, you can go to the mailbox, but that's it.
Yeah.
And so all the girls, and in the book, it explains also that the girls stopped bathing, they stopped taking care of themselves. Mom stopped cleaning the house, stopped cooking. The girls were just eating whatever was available. They had groceries delivered, but they may or may not get them off the porch on sometimes. And so, yes.
That's awful.
It was even worse. And it wasn't very long for the bodies to have been in there before they were discovered because, the parents were not dead.
I feel like they should have put more of that in the movie, because the one thing I didn't like about the movie was it went very fast from, okay, we're stuck in the house, to we're all going to kill ourselves.
That's pretty much how it goes in the book too.
But I mean, I would have liked the whole, like, the house is like festering and
well, they tried to show that. They didn't show it too much when the priest comes after Cecilia's death, and they've started not cleaning up the house, and he walks and passes that sandwich that's on the stairway.
See, I didn't even notice that.
And there's clothes hanging everywhere, and
So that was a priest, right? Does that mean they were Catholic?
I don't know.
I mean, we know there's some sort of crazy Christian. That's probably a given.
Well, when she burns Lux's records, it said it's because she came from a spirited church session. So I'm assuming that would not be Catholic.
That was also when they were burning the records, I was like, don't breathe that air. Like,
oh, I know. Well, she didn't burn many. I think she burned 2, and then they just threw the rest away. But it was only the rock and roll records, remember, because after that they were able to have they had their folk records still available, but only the scary rock and roll.
I really like the when the boys would call them up and they would call the boys back and they would just play the records. That was that was very sweet.
Yes.
That was cool.
Sweet, but very sad too if you were paying attention to all the songs.
I wasn't paying attention to the songs.
Yeah.
What were they?
I don't have a list right off the top of my head, but basically
okay.
the girls.
I have them in my notes.
Sure you do. The girls were basically just saying, "Help us! We're so lonely. We need help." And the boys were just trying to say, "We love you." And
that's sort of nice. And I mean, I also feel like that's sort of fitting for our times now, where everybody's sequestered. Not to make everything super depressing. And that brings me to our sponsor. We were sponsored by Social Distancing Beer.
Oh, yes, very nice.
This is a beer I picked up specifically for this. It's called Social Distancing. It has a moss man looking at his phone with a nuclear bomb going off in the background. I was trying to lighten the mood. I don't know if it worked or not. Okay. The other weird thing was when Kirsten Dunst, how do you say her name? Kirsten or Kirsten Dunst would write the boys' names on her underwear?
Yes. Well, now, you've never been a 14-year-old girl. Girls are ridiculously emotional at that age, and you fall in love hard every other day with somebody, and you would do stupid things like that. Well, if I write, I didn't do this, but I'm assuming
that's what I was going to ask.
I didn't do this.
If you did, because that was before I knew you.
But no, well, that's true. But no, but we would write boys' names on our arms, and stuff like not on my underwear. But yeah, she was just doing that to keep close to know what's secret, you know. Girls are crazy at that age, obviously.
Yeah.
So
yeah, it was neat, and I liked how they did sort of like the X-rays where it was like,
yeah, that was cute.
It's like, oh, is she crazy?
Do you think that this could have been directed by a man? Do you think that those details like that, like the X-ray, like showing her underwear with Tripp's name on it, would have been done by a man?
I will say it probably could have, but not as well.
Yeah.
Like, and in fact,
it would have been way dirtier.
Yes, it would have been dirtier. It wouldn't have been as like, I don't know, would you call it like sweet? Would you call it a sweet movie?
No.
I don't know. It's like
sweet is okay, I guess. It's not despite everything that happens, it's not lewd, it's not horrendous. They don't they don't show Cecilia killing herself. They just show the aftermath or any of the other girls killing themselves. You just see it. But yes.
Yeah. I don't think any like male director could have done it justice the way.
Yeah, and I don't know how old Sofia Coppola was when she did that, but
hold on, I have it in my notes. She was. Oh, you can't see me pretending to type. She was like 20 something, I think.
Probably.
What is your favorite Sofia Coppola movie?
I don't know this one.
So she did this. The Bling Ring, A24.
Definitely not that one.
Very nice.
Oh, please. That was terrible.
It was. I think you would like it if you rewatched it.
I did watch it and I hated it.
It was Hermione's best film. That movie with Bill Murray, I didn't like this one, and Scarlett Johansson.
Oh, Lost in Translation?
Yeah. That one, she did one with Elle Fanning, where she was like the daughter of a celebrity person. If this were a professional podcast, I would have this written down.
I know what you're talking
about. Okay.
I haven't seen that one.
It was pretty good. I watched it on my A24 list. # watched all A24 movies in January. We're going to just sit in this silence for a minute while you bask in your husband's amazing glory of seeing every A24 movie. He was
very pretentious during this time.
During that time.
Even more so.
Okay, that's better. All right, hold on. Let me see if I have any other notes on here before we start winding down.
Do you think that Lux killed herself just because of what happened with Tripp, or do you think it was more to do with what was going on with her mother?
Tell me which one Lux was.
Kirsten Dunst.
Okay. Can you rephrase that?
Did anybody else have anything going on with Tripp?
Tripp is Josh Hartnett, the cool guy.
Tripp Fontaine.
No, I think Tripp was her maybe like introduction to not being locked down in the house, but I don't think that she was obsessed with him. Do you think she was?
Yes.
Okay.
I mean, he basically had magical night all planned out for her, had sex with her, and left her there.
Why do you think he left her? That was another part of the movie that had, I don't know.
I don't think he even knows. I mean, there's no explanation given in the book or the movie. And like you said, in the movie, he says, I don't know why I left her. I just got up and I did. It was like I was done with her.
That's like a brutal.
So now, having been a 14-year-old girl, let me tell you, that's horrendously brutal.
Yeah.
So that's somebody that she thought was going to be an escape for her, was going to be a kind of savior. And he just dropped her. Just let her go. So I personally think that she decided to do it because of him.
Yeah. That's rough. What about the other girls? What about the 3 middle sisters? Or I don't know where they rank on the thing, but the ones that weren't the first girl and not her.
Right. Bonnie, Therese, and Mary.
Okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's what I was about to say.
I don't know. I have no clue. There's no real explanation given to them other than, they only have each other. They have one sister that already decided she wanted out, Cecilia.
Yeah.
Lux is deeply, deeply depressed and hates everything, hates her mother, hates everything, and she's trying to destroy herself basically with all these men.
Yeah.
So I don't know. There's no real explanation for the other girls. There's no real characterization of them.
Yeah.
Really, it's mostly just Lux and Cecilia. They're just there. But I would say that for them it was all the mother's doing.
Yeah.
They just felt hopeless. There was no end in sight to getting out of that stinky house.
Well, on that note, that was good. See, I feel like we had a good talk on that.
Any other questions?
That was all of my notes. Do you feel like you got everything that you wanted to express out of this?
I think so.
Okay.
Did you like it?
I liked it a lot. I was holding off on rating it on Letterboxd, www.letterboxd.com /
It's letterboxed.
I don't remember my username on there. Is it Mondo Drew or Drew Stennett? I don't know.
It's Drew Stennett.
Okay, Drew Stennett. My mom already has me on that, so that's okay. And now Lela has joined Letterboxd. You can find her at Letterboxd.
Lela Stennett.
Lela Stennett. That's right. She's seen a ton of movies, which has given me a good, I'm always trying to fill in those holes on the movies I haven't seen. Yeah. So going through all of the ones that you've rated, like every 10th one I can go through and be like, ooh, I did see that one. I did see it.
I'm only up to 2001 though.
It's going to be rough. That's all right. I feel like around 2001, we're probably watching roughly the same movies. That sounds like a challenge.
The same movies?
Roughly the same movies.
And what year did we stop at? After James was born?
I feel like nowadays we roughly have an idea of, we don't watch all the same movies, right, but we are aware of the same movies in the cultural zeitgeist. Which is, I would not say that was the case before the year 2000.
Okay.
Maybe like before 1995.
Okay, yeah, because
when I was, and again, I'm going to comment on your movie viewing history, like you had a Pinocchio 2, The Revenge or something.
Yes.
And I was like, why only have I not seen this? But how come I didn't know that it existed? And there's another one. This is like the second one.
It's worth noting, Ellen, that I worked in a video store for 6 years. So basically all I did was watch movies. So I've seen a lot. Mm-hmm. Horrible movies, like some of the stuff you watch now.
It sounded very judgmental.
Well, some of them are horrible.
That's true. I mean, it's not like I'm in the middle of watching Cannibal Holocaust right now. So
I have seen that in Demons 3.
Yeah, and that's the one that I was very jealous of because
it's not very good, but you're not missing.
Well, none of them are very good, but they're all like very fun.
Oh yes.
Like
this one was not. All right, when he does see it, we'll do that one.
Okay.
But Virgin Suicides is one of my top 50 movies because it shocked the bejeebers out of me when I saw it.
Yeah.
And like I said, I had read the book. It was one of those, and I was a senior in high school. So it's not like we were having to hide books from our parents anymore, but it was one of those like, oh my God, have you read this? Have you read about this?
I would not have felt comfortable reading that in high school because it had Virgin in the title.
Oh. I was a girl, I could do it. But having read the book, even the first time I saw the movie, it was horrifying. I had to go to some skeevy little theater in Wilmington because it wasn't at any of the major theaters to go see it.
Really?
Yeah, it was at some tiny theater way back off of College Road.
Uh-huh. I wonder what theater that was.
I don't remember, but it was not at the big. It was like this place only had maybe 4 theaters total. Huh. But I guess it was the art house theater or whatever, but it was very strange to go see. But yeah, and it shocked me when I saw it.
Nice. So. Do you remember when we went to go see No Country for Old Men here?
Yes.
And we had to go to like, I won't say it was an Indian theater, but
it was by an Indian restaurant for sure.
Yeah. And it was like, this is a Coen Brothers movie, and we're having to go to like a very weird theater to see it. But it was fine. James, come here. Come be on the podcast, son. Say hey to Grammy.
Have you seen the Virgin Suicides, James?
I have not.
But he has seen the entire season of Solar Opposites. James, on a scale of 1 to 10, how would you rate Solar Opposites?
I feel like perhaps this has just gone off the rails a little bit.
It has.
Talking about a lot of different things.
We'll
We need
wrap
to
it up
focus.
now. We'll wrap it up. Thank you all for watching. This is the last family member. So, not the last family member total, but the last one that has agreed to do one of these with
That's
me.
okay.
All right, there we go. Boom.
You gotta let me do the notes though, so we can more focus.
Probably won't happen. I'll do the notes and you can look at them.
Okay. Do I get to pick
I'm
the movie?
kidding. Of course.
Oh. Dune.
Ooh, we have to watch Dune too. So Dune is very long.
Would you like to watch the movie and then do the miniseries?
Are we talking about the original movie and then the 2 miniseries?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that'll be fun.
The movie is not very long. Somebody's calling me.
Oh. All right. Well, on that note, we will wrap this up. Thank you for doing this with me, baby.
No
I'm very happy you did it.
All right.
Thank you for letting me twist your arm. And do you think this is acceptable to upload to YouTube? All right. Excellent. Thank you. Say bye-bye. You have to wave. Say bye, Ellen.
Bye, Ellen.